Our next guest supports a proof-of-stake side chain of Ethereum called Celo. It's the first carbon-negative chain, EVM compatible, that is Ethereum virtual machine compatible. It's a totally separate layer 1 protocol from Ethereum, but it shares key similarities. Joining us now is Marek Olszewski, co-founder at Celo. Welcome to the show, Marek. Great to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. This is great.
So maybe you can start off by what's the pitch for Celo and how does it work, if at all, with Ethereum?
Yeah, great question. So Celo, as you mentioned, is fully EVM compatible, but it does have a few bonus features. It is proof of stake, of course, and it is very scalable, but it's also been really, from the ground up, built with usability and mobile in mind. And so...
Oh, no, go on.
And so... For example, Celo has a very efficient client that uses ZK snarks to effectively prove that a header is part of the chain, allowing you to sync with just a few kilobytes of data. For usability, you can send transactions by paying for gas with ERC20 tokens, which makes it much easier to send stablecoins around. And then finally, you mentioned Celo is carbon negative. This is something that we've done for over 2 years now. In addition to being very lightweight on carbon emissions because it is proof of stake based, the protocol also automatically buys carbon offset credits programmatically using block rewards in order to offset the little electricity that it's
So it's
using.
really popular among regenerative finance folks who are building applications on the protocol. But I wanted to turn to the merge. So Ethereum has now moved from proof of work to proof of stake. So I guess they're one step closer to being more energy efficient and completing some of the goals that you're concerned about, which is being carbon negative. I wonder, though, what, if any, impact does the merge have on Celo?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think it's obviously a historic event. We're all absolutely just ecstatic for the whole industry. Obviously, a lot of work went into the merge, and to see it go off without a hitch like this was just pure joy. This is really amazing for the industry, right? To have such a big proof of work chain go towards proof of stake. That gives us hope that we as a whole industry can slowly move away from proof of work entirely and start being a force for fighting climate change and not one that's contributing to it.
Does Celo's business actually change, though, or does at least not business, but what you guys are doing in general? Is anything affected by the merge compared to what you were doing before? Are there redundancies now that maybe you don't have to focus on so much anymore now that they too are proof of stake? Is there anything else that Celo can or will be doing with this kind of with the change in the merge?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think anything changes really for Celo. I think Celo's usability advantages, the ones that I just mentioned, the ability to pay for gas with tokens, its scalability advantages, I think those all remain, and those continue to make Celo, just a very compelling choice for builders.
And I understand that you've had conversations with Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, as well as the Ethereum Foundation. I'd be interested to know, any insights that you got out of those conversations.
Yeah. Obviously, they're extremely thoughtful, and I think their commitment to the Ethereum roadmap is just amazing, and everything that they have planned is really, really exciting. It's always great chatting. We get to talk about the minutiae of different technical decisions, things that they're considering, things that we're considering or doing. I think it's an exciting time to
Anything key about next steps that they're taking or other key milestones next in Ethereum?
Yeah, I think once slot finality keeps coming up, this is something that we do well. On Celo, you have 5-second block periods, and every block is finalized the second it's mined or validated. This is something on the Ethereum roadmap as well. It's big and ambitious. ambitious. I think it'll probably take some time for them to get there, but I think from an ease of use perspective, it's absolutely key, right? I think users want to be able to transact and know with certainty that the transaction won't be rolled back.
Is there any concern that they're getting more centralized with the Ethereum Foundation? And I mean, if you've ever read Laura Shin's book, The Cryptopians, she talks about a shadow government working in the background as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think, obviously over the last week, there's been a lot of discussion around liquid staking and the effect that that's having on centralization of Ethereum now that it is proof of stake. Likewise, Coinbase is contributing a lot of validator power to the network. But I think talking to them and looking at the actual underlying facts, I think perhaps the last week has been a little overblown in terms of its criticism of where we are right now.
So you, like many others in the crypto community, are clearly aiming towards more mainstream adoption. What, in your view, is the biggest obstacle to that right now?
Yeah, I would say two. I think usability within the whole industry continues to be a challenge, and that's clearly why we focus so much on all of those ease of use extensions to the chain. I mentioned the ability to pay for gas with tokens. That's a big one. Celo also has a decentralized phone verification protocol, which lets you send value to phone numbers even before the recipient signs up. And so this is quite elegant. It allows people to use phone numbers as identifiers, and it allows for that really amazing ease of use when you're sending value to someone who's just getting onboarded. But the other thing that I think as an industry is really lacking, and I saw Jelle was on the show from Nestcoin yesterday, and he was talking about the challenges with on and off ramps. I think this is a really big challenge for the whole industry. If we think about it, in order to build a really great on and off ramp, you need relationships with local banks, and you need licenses in the markets that you're operating. And that means that for truly global coverage, it's likely going to be the case that we're going to have hundreds of on and off ramps that each specialize in each of these different markets. And that presents a problem for wallets and dApps, because integrating with hundreds of different on and off ramps is just from a technological perspective going to be quite onerous. And so one of the things we launched recently is Fiat Connect. You can think of it as the wallet connect of on and off ramps. It's one language that everyone can speak so that everyone can integrate just once. And the end result is that you'll be able to on and off ramp with more and more markets with those local banking relationships, so you'll have higher success rates, and it'll just simplify the lives of both on and off ramp companies and wallets.
So besides Ethereum, of course, which you're very tied to, do you see any other potentials of working with other blockchains? And if so, which do you think have you find the most interesting?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the Celo Foundation has been in this long-term partnership with Miston Labs. The Celo scalability roadmap includes bringing Narwhal into Celo, and then also long-term adding side-by-side move support. I think we're entering this era where you're going to have multiple dApp chains running underneath one single transaction ordering consensus protocol, and Celo is exploring ways of doing that. And so long term, we see developers picking Celo as being able to both develop in Solidity and also in Move, which obviously is exciting and offers some interesting guarantees.
Just one last question, Marek, for you. But I wonder, what do you think will be the fate of proof of work blockchains?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, hopefully, as I mentioned, they'll slowly get phased out. I think Ethereum has shown, and frankly, all of the proof of stake networks that have come before it, that you can build secure, robust, and scalable networks with proof of stake, and in some cases you can actually offer stronger guarantees with slashing, and so the end result is why keep proof of work? Why keep a consensus protocol that can do so much damage to the environment?